Hey everybody, how's it going? Yesterday I went over some anti-right to repair propaganda, and I went over why the article was garbage. It was claiming that people would be doing repairs that were not to the standard of the FDA if this were passed, if you allow third parties to be able to fix medical devices. Now, when I went to the FDA's own website, I was able to very quickly find a study that was done by the FDA that said not only are the complaints not about third-party repair. Not only is third-party repair doing a good job, but that third-party repair is essential and critical to the functioning of the United States healthcare system. Now that we've gone through that, I would like to go over an anti-right to repair ad that came out for Missouri. If you are a viewer of mine and you live in Missouri, you work in Missouri, you vote in Missouri, I'd really appreciate your feedback on this piece that I'm about to show you. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to give you my perspective and my thoughts as we go through this ad, and you give me yours in the comments down below because it would be very helpful for me. So let's go over it. It says, right to repair, wrong for Missouri. I'll be honest, that's really catchy. Like we need a catchphrase like that. Right to repair, wrong for Missouri. And if you have the right person reading that, it'll be pretty catchy. So let's play it. Right, so you got this really cheesy-ass music playing in the background here. And it says, what is right to repair? And it says, right to repair is a national Democratic platform issue championed by socialist senator and presidential candidate Senator Bernie Sanders. So what are they doing there? Well, they know that Missouri is a red state, and they know that Bernie Sanders is probably not the politician of choice in a red state. So if they could see that he supported it, they are going to associate it with him so that they can get you to be against it. It's very similar to when you, let's say, read an opinion piece in the New York Times, and rather than say why an idea is bad, it'll say, this idea was repeated by far-right person X. And then you Google far-right person X, and they're not far-right. They're just right of Chairman Mao. And I think that conservatives are really sick and tired of that. They're sick and tired of reading a piece of media that is supposed to be journalism and hearing that this person that I'm reading about, okay, instead of telling me why the idea is bad, instead of making a real argument, you just think that saying that this idea is associated with this person is enough to just turn off my brain and get me to hate the idea. And I don't like when that's done on either the left side of the aisle or the right. I think it's intellectually lazy, and I think it's very condescending. So rather than say why this is a bad idea, they just have to associate it bad. It's kind of like those military drones where you drop red paint on something, and then once the drone sees the red paint, it knows to shoot it and attack it. They kind of think that we work the same way. So if you just say right to repair was mentioned by this person, socialist, that everybody will say attack right to repair, attack right to repair. Me red, they blue, bad. It's not that simple at all. So let's just go over some of the people who supported right to repair in the past. One of the first hearings that I recorded and testified at was in Nebraska. And one of the only co-sponsors of that bill was Lydia Brash. Lydia Brash is a Republican, and that was the only person we could get to sign on to the bill. Now, if you look and you see how we were treated when we spoke here, you'll see that there were a group of people that actually laughed at us.
Chambers.
I have an amendment which, if she would adopt, it would come out.
Okay.
So this is, poor camera work for me a few years ago.
Prairie
but-
dogs.
Strike all contents, original contents in the bill, and insert the following. Better luck next year when we come back.
They're all laughing. They're all having themselves a good old time. And the person who started that was Ernie Chambers. If you Google Ernie Chambers, he is not right-wing at all. He is as left-wing as it gets, and he literally laughed us out of the legislature. Now, it gets better, because this bill was reintroduced several years later. So one of the people that you see laughing at us over here, this person, actually lost their re-election campaign to Tom Brandt. Now, Tom Brandt over here, as you can see, is a Republican. And Republican Tom Brand co-sponsored this legislation, which is a right to repair bill. He is the only sponsor listed on the bill, and he is a Republican. This bill is also in the Montana state legislature. Montana is not exactly known for being a blue socialist Democrat state. There are many people who are Republicans around the country who support this issue. You have the Nebraska Farm Bureau that supports this 176-1. Nebraska is not exactly known for being a blue state. So when you see this type of language used, and it will be used continuously throughout, I want you to just really ask, are they explaining to me why it's a bad idea? Or are they just trying to manipulate me by using this whole fake left, right, red, blue nonsense? Yeah, so here they've brought up 3 other Democrats that supported right to repair to prime you to hate it before they even actually tell you why it's bad. Also, this music that they're playing is horrible. I think the music is supposed to scare me. What is right to repair? The so-called right to repair effort contained in the House Bill 975 should be called the right to modify. Right to repair already exists. Anyone may repair their own equipment. If you have farm equipment, you may purchase, repair software, tools, and parts from your local farm equipment dealer. But the right to repair legislation does much, much more. So this is something that I hear very often, which is, you already have right to repair. You're just complaining for no reason. And one of the things that I really try to do with this channel is show people that it is easily demonstrable that is not true, that you don't have the ability to do repairs on lots of different equipment. So, for instance, here is a video interview that I did with someone who works in medical device repair, where they're saying that the company that makes the operating table will go bad just because the little motor that moves it up and down will stop working, and they'll tell the motor company, don't sell the motor to anybody. And those tables cost $20,000 to $40,000. And their answer when you go to the company is, buy a new one. Another example from my industry where I'm more familiar would be MacBook board repair. So on my channel, you see me do a lot of repair videos where I'll take these boards and fix them, and I'll just replace one chip and it'll work. The problem is that I can't buy the chips anymore because Apple will tell the company that makes the chips, don't sell to anybody. And you can see proof of that here if you just Google ISL 9240 on Facebook. So this person asked Renesas, also known as Intersil, if they can make the chip available for sale, and you'll see here that in the thread, they said, the ISL 9240 is a customized design order. It is not available to the public. So technically, if you have that $3,000 or $4,000 MacBook and this one little $5 chip dies in it, you have to go to Apple and pay $1,500 for a repair because I can't go to the company and buy the chip anymore. That's what right to repair is about, and that's what they're ignoring. Further, I don't think that the Nebraska Farm Bureau would have voted 176-1 in favor of right to repair if they already had it. It would be a waste. I trust the farmers more than I trust who made this commercial. Let's continue. Are any of you scared by this music? This is so lame. I gotta say, in the Massachusetts anti-right to repair commercials, they had much scarier music than this. The legislation would require equipment manufacturers that have invested millions in the research and development of their own equipment to disclose their software code and trade secrets, allowing their competitors in the U.S. or abroad access to their critical systems. So this is a good one. So we have never asked for source code, and none of the bills make it clear that what we're looking for is source code. If you actually read the bill, it doesn't ask for source code. It will ask for a payload file, which is like a binary. It's not actual source code. They will say source code because they trust that legislators don't know the difference between a binary and source code. And admittedly, most don't, and which is why this type of stuff works. Now, if we're talking about other countries getting access to these systems, it's funny you bring that up because I did a video a while back where there was a farmer who was very concerned about the security of the U.S. food supply because a lot of these tractors use horribly old software that's not really very secure. And here's the kicker. The Chinese government actually gets more access to the software that for these tractors than actual farmers that buy them from America. And it's an American company. I went over that in this video, an important message for Senator Ben Sasse, and I also posted the letter that the farmer sent me and Senator Ben Sasse in the comment section of it. But let's continue with this. I'm also going to fast forward a little bit because I can't stand listening to this heavy music. Anyone purchasing the code could manipulate safety controls and maintenance data. It could even allow the code to be hacked and used by companies in the US or even in countries like China to duplicate American products. Now, this isn't, again, a lot of what farmers are asking for in the United States is stuff that is being given to the Chinese government. And I go over that in this important message for Ben Sass letter. The best part is when it comes to hacking, isn't that? Okay, this is a funny one. So we were talking about this as early as December of last year, how easy it is to hack a lot of the security in these tractors and how this could actually be bad for food security in the United States. Nothing was done. Someone actually contacted John Deere about it and was given the runaround for quite a while, which I go over in this video. John Deere security flaw exposed address of every customer and more. And there's a lot of other hacks that I really wish I could tell you about, but I can't until the investigation is done. But they're lucky that white hat hackers found this. Without a right to repair, someone was able to find the names, the addresses, the financial data on how the tractors are functioning, how they're plowing the lands and all that kind of stuff. They were able to hack into all of that information because of how insecure their systems are. Security is not a function of repairability, and you can have a system where you try to keep people from repairing it that is still horribly insecure. The two have nothing to do with one another, and it's demonstrated on a regular basis. Let's continue here. And again, I'm going to fast forward through because the music is really bad. So it says, this is government price fixing, as the legislation sets the price manufacturers could charge for access to proprietary code. This is actually it's a very interesting case. So they say this is a case of price fixing. Now, if a device needs a $5 chip, and you tell the company that makes the chip, don't sell that chip to anybody, the only place to get it fixed is the manufacturer, and the manufacturer wants $1,500 to fix it, and the product itself new costs $2,000, that is price fixing. It is not price fixing to say, listen, man, if you want to charge 90% of what the device is worth new to fix it, fine, but you can't tell the company that makes the chip that I need that they can't sell it to me. That's BS. What they're doing is they're accusing the right to repair people of what they themselves are doing. And, they always accuse the other side of what they themselves are doing. Okay, let's continue. Consumers beware. This legislation is bad for consumers. Equipment owners can modify equipment, aging the equipment much faster than intended, then erase all trace of the modification when they trade the equipment in at their dealer or sell to an unsuspecting buyer. This is like an illegal odometer rollback on a motor vehicle. Imagine the impact those farmers and construction companies that can't afford brand new equipment and find out the hard way the used equipment they purchased has been modified by the previous owner, and the software reset to look like nothing was modified. They are stuck with a piece of equipment that has much less useful life and is worth much less than they paid. So again, they are pretending that they care about the farmer and the company that can't afford brand new equipment. Well, if you're so concerned about what people can afford, then why don't you want them to have options to get it repaired cheaper? Because you know what people who can't afford the best equipment usually also can't afford? They can't afford to go back to the dealership. This is such an asinine, fallacious argument that they're making. You show me how much you care about the poor. Show me how much you care about people that can't afford top-notch, top-of-the-line new stuff by not allowing them to fix the stuff that they own. Again, it's just one of those accuse the other side of what you're doing things. Next, because again, this music is horrible. They would likely file lawsuits against the dealer and manufacturer, neither of which will know the equipment has been modified, resulting in more lawsuits at a time we are trying to rein in lawsuit abuse. Lawsuit abuse is that ship sailed like 30 years ago. Environmental impact. One major reason some want this legislation is to defeat federally required emission systems and increase horsepower. The EPA is focused on stopping this effort to defeat emissions controls using aftermarket defeat devices. In a recent forum, Jim Guilford, EPA Region 7 Director, discussed the danger of diesel emissions defeating devices and reprogramming of diesel engines, wanting to stop the industry that is set up to provide reprogramming and workarounds. They're saying that they care about the environment. Now again, when something breaks, and you're stuck buying a new one because you cannot fix the old one. Show me how much you care about the environment. Show me what you do to ensure that this stuff doesn't end up in a landfill. You care so much about the environment that when a $5 chip dies, what you do is you take the entire motherboard, you throw away that motherboard, and then you give the customer a new motherboard at a cost of $1,500. You don't care about the environment. You never did. If you did, you would make it easy for people to get repairs of their existing equipment so that they did not have to purchase new equipment, which has an environmental impact to manufacture and produce. This is the best part. Who is really behind the right to repair legislation? The push to require manufacturers to give away software code is a national effort funded by George Soros through the Open Society Foundation. All right, let's do this. I can't. So let's see. What is George Soros worth? So George Soros is worth supposedly $8.6 billion. Now, I've Googled my own net worth before, so I know that these numbers can be bullshit. But let's say that it's only 20% of that or 10% of that, right? The dude is worth over $1 billion. I have been working on, again, I'm not saying this to be narcissistic. I have been working on right to repair for 7 or 8 years. I'm not saying I'm a fan of it. I'm not saying I like it, but it just so happens to be a fact that my name is inextricably linked with right to repair. Every time there's a news article, a YouTube piece, or whatever that comes out about right to repair, my name gets mentioned. My name is at one of the top of the list with names associated with right to repair. Do I look like I'm funded by George Soros? Really? I'm doing a GoFundMe to try to raise money to do a direct ballot initiative in Massachusetts that a lobbying firm said would be around $5 to $20 million. And after over a month, I have raised, again, very happy and appreciative, thank you very much, 12% of my overall goal. Do I look like... Where is this Soros money? Where? I'd like some. Jessa Jones would like some. Nathan at US Perg would like some. Oh my God. The Open Society Foundation supports abortion rights, gun control, defunding the police. Okay. Just like, let's just, bruh. Is that the way you say it? Again, I'm getting old now. Is it B-R-U-H? Bruh? Bruh. Like, okay, in your heart of hearts. Again, this is probably not the right thing to do. You're not supposed to stereotype. But like deep down, like when you really, really get into it and you think about it, does this dude, who's the only co-sponsor of the Right to Repair bill right now, does this dude strike you as defund the police? When you look at him, do you see someone that's like spray painting ACAB on the side of courthouses in Portland, Oregon? Really? Oh man, like how dumb do you think the people watching this are? U.S. Public Interest Research Group, the group pushing this legislation. Who is U.S. PIRG? U.S. PIRG claims to want to help the farmers with the legislation, but U.S. PIRG regularly opposes farm bills in the U.S. Congress, celebrating defeat of the Farm Bill in 2018. The U.S. PIRG claims to support the environmental causes, but the legislation allows users to override emissions control, which the EPA says harms the government. No, it allows someone besides the dealership to fix it. What is U.S. PIRG's real motive? U.S. Public Interest Research Group wants to require companies that invested millions in the research and development of their equipment to disclose their software code and trade secrets to third parties. Incorrect. There is not a single bill out there that asks for source code. That is very clear. You are lying. Again, I kind of wish they weren't lying about the Soros money. I don't gotta like you or dislike you to take your billion. I'll take your billion and do what I want with it. Let's work together to defeat the liberal special interests and protect Missouri manufacturers, equipment dealers, and customers from this misguided right to repair legislation. Vote no on HB 95. I will leave a link to this down below. This really does appear to be an ad that seeks to take advantage of the fact that we are very divided in the United States right now, politically, culturally. In many ways, we have lots of differences. Whether we're talking about freedom or having COVID restrictions because, what if you don't want people to die? Unless you're Cuomo, of course. Whether we're talking about gun control versus the Second Amendment, whether we're talking about open borders or a zero-tolerance immigration policy. Blue lives matter, black lives matter. Dr. Seuss and everything, universal health care versus having private health insurance. There are so many issues where we are constantly at each other's throats on a regular basis. And because we're at that, we're so often at each other's throats, and the temperature is so high, it's like we're just waiting for a reason to just beat the next person that disagrees with us. Like, you're the other side of it. And I think that that's what this is relying on. It's relying on people turning off their brain because they're so primed for hatred of someone who thinks differently of them that they don't even bother to Google to figure out that many of the right to repair bills that are being pushed across the country right now are being sponsored by Republicans. I gave testimony in Washington where let's see if I could find this here. Here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
This is a Republican senator in Washington. He got it. This video says Genius Bar Salt crosses all party lines. Republican or Democrat, doesn't matter here. He was describing the issue as he saw it and saying, "Yeah, I don't really think you have a case here." And I'll link it down below. Lots of people that support this are Republicans. The whole concept that Tim Cook shouldn't be the one that decides whether or not you're too stupid to fix what you own, that you don't need to be protected from yourself by mommy and daddy corporation that says that you're too dumb to buy this chip, so we have to protect you from yourself. It's un-American. It's not about Democrat. It's not about Republican. It's un-American. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, I hope you learned something. And as always, if you are in the state of Missouri, if you're a voter in the state of Missouri, by all means, please do write your senator, write your congressperson, write your mayor, write your governor. Let them know. I will include bill numbers down below. So please contact them and tell them what you think of this bill. A few things. People always ask me, do you have a form letter? What do I tell them? What do I tell them? What do I tell them? My criticism of the lobbyists is that they're reading what someone else's thoughts off a piece of paper. I'm not going to tell you what to say because it's not my right to tell you what to say. If you have an opinion on this, if you have some thoughts on this, then let them know. Who do I contact? I don't know. I don't know who your politician is. I don't know where you live. I don't know what district you're in. Hopefully you know how to figure out who your local politicians are. But I don't know where you live because I'm speaking to more than one person. So you're going to have to look that up yourself. Who's your senator? Who's your representative? Who's your mayor? Obviously, there's only going to be one governor. But you get the idea. Let them know what you think because this is what they're being shown behind closed doors. And the stuff that they're being shown behind closed doors is horrible. It's dumb. It's not very well thought through. It's very lowbrow. But the only reason they're able to win is because we don't say anything. And now we have the ability to say something. We have the means to speak up. We have the means to inform each other. And it's fun to be a part of that. That's it for today. And I'll see you in the next video.